Hello everyone, and welcome back to Minecraft 1.16 Survival Episode 40. I managed to not hit anything, except for the lake, which was, the goal. But today's episode we are starting in Turtle Keep, which is where we ended the last one. Surprise black screen land! What happened this time? It's like the very beginning of the video. Well, my recording software hates me, and it's a little bit of this clip is just really bad, so I've cut out the bad parts. If you doubt how bad they are, here's a little sample of what I'm sparing you from. The colorless right here, it turned out pretty well. Yeah, it's terrible. So, if any of this doesn't make sense and there's a weird cut, that's why. I've made too much progress in this area for me to redo the intro, so this is what we're getting. That was a little bit of lag, but like in most episodes, in that episode I kind of made a list of things that I'd said I'd do in the future, like a town square, and a market, and a blacksmith, and some paths. I thought I would start this episode by checking off one of the items on that list, of course not any of the ones I just listed, but we're going to start with fixing up the miner's hut that's down here, because currently there's not really much that indicates that it's a miner's hut, other than the fact that it's next to the smaller mining hut. So let's jump into a quick little time lapse to fix up this building. And just like that, the starter house is officially gone. I mean, there's still a chest room behind that wall, but that doesn't count. It's been fully replaced by this nice little mining hut, which I'd say I decorated pretty well. We got some like ore storage over here, gold, copper, and iron. I thought about like varying the sizes of these, because obviously you'd have like less gold than you would copper and iron probably, but I still think it looks pretty good. And then over on this wall we have kind of the tools of the trade, the pickaxe and the sword. And of course, we have the best potted plant in the game, the azalea bush. I still can't get over how good this looks. It doesn't really fit the miner's hut, but I had to put it in. It looks too good. Of course, we have bed and a chest, which there's not really much here. It's just a bed and a chest. And I should really kill those chickens. I think they're under this block, but the farm isn't even like accessible anymore, so I don't really know why I still have them alive. But they'll live for now because I'm too lazy to kill them right now, and I'm still living off of pumpkin pie, which actually leads very nicely to the next thing we're going to do in this episode, which is to fix the fact that I'm living off of pumpkin pie. You see, pumpkin pie is a decent food source. It gives you 4 hunger bars, as you can see right there, and that makes it so I only have to eat twice when I am at like 3 hunger bars, want to be able to sprint again. But the saturation kind of leaves something to be desired, and originally I thought, oh, it wasn't that bad. But when I built my piglin bartering system, I had cooked pork chop for a little bit. And cooked pork chop is so great. So that is exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to make a hoglin farm over in the nether so I can have an infinite supply of cooked pork chop. I had to unzoom so I could zoom back in for dramatic effect. So let's head over to the nether and find a good place to build this farm. Of course, now that the starter base is gone, I kind of have to use the portals in Blackkeep to get into the nether, because the old one is kind of covered up, and I guarantee you at least once I will go into that portal and just be in my chest room that's closed off, which won't be very useful, but I actually do already know where I want to build my hoglin farm, which is kind of over here in what I've started to think of as the farming district of the nether, because it has that thing and also that thing, but there is a crimson forest right here, which is of course where you have to build these farms. So this is exactly where we're going to build this farm. It's pretty small. I think it's just going to take up this footprint about, so I'm going to go gather some resources, and then we can get building. So, as it turns out, the only resource that I actually need and don't already have, because this is a very simple farm is this little fungus right here, because hoglins are horribly afraid of these, and I have a little texture pack on that makes them look like they do, and truthfully, I didn't know they still looked that way in the inventory, and it's kind of weirded me out. Like on the ground, I think that looks way better. It's like nice and 3D, you know? It'll occasionally be rotated a different way, but in my inventory it just looks strange. I don't know. So I'm going to gather a few of these, and then we can actually just hop straight into building the farm. Actually, we're not going to jump into a time lapse right now because I've just realized this is a spawning based farm. It relies on, you know, mob spawning, and so is that one. And you can't actually have two of those right next to each other. They have to be like 128 blocks apart, so the spawning doesn't really interfere, which is kind of a problem. The thing is, right, if I build the farm here and it will fit in this little crimson forest that I've found, I can go ahead and do that. But if I'm AFKing like way up here, so it's not rendering anything beneath the roof of the nether, it'll be spawning stuff up here. And all the guys that'll spawn up here, over there and stuff, they contribute to the mob cap. So it will kind of make this farm not really do much. So I actually have to find a different place for it, other than right there. And I was kind of set on that, because I really like having all my nether farms kind of right next to each other. Luckily, there is another Crimson Forest kind of over here. This is, you know, the top of the hole where we just were, and it's Crimson Forest here. So I think this should be far enough away, hopefully, that we can build it right here. If I click F3 and look at the E in the top left, there are 26, which is actually more than I thought there would be, because that's more than the amount of them that should be there, if that sentence made any sense at all. But yeah, I'm going to build over there because that should make it function a lot better, because it's right next to this one. It's really just not going to work. So I'm going to actually do some math, figure out how far away it needs to be. Okay, I've done the math. The two farms will now be the proper distance of 128 blocks apart, and we can finally start the time lapse. Well, that was one of the quickest farms that I've ever built. This thing is very small, only took me like 15 minutes or so, and that does not mean it is inefficient. This thing has already produced an insane amount of pork chop, literally just in the time that I built it. This, like, that is 3 stacks. Freaking cooked pumpkin pies is what you're called now. Out of here. I am living off of cooked pork chop now. So, this farm is very simple. It just has a big spawn platform here with lots of torches, so only hoglins can spawn. Of course, they get afraid of the shrooms, and they run into the death pit, which, despite the fact there's fire, the soul sand has hoppers underneath it, and that does collect the items before the fire destroys it, which is pretty cool. And if we head up here to the AFK spot, it's just at build limit, which is the perfect height for this farm, and then nothing else can spawn, and we just get hoglins, which we should be able to see if we look down there. Yep, there's one, and we can see the farm in action and gets scared of the mushrooms and heads directly into the fire. It's beautiful. So now that we have this done, I'm going to AFK here for a little bit because I want some cooked pork chop. Well, as you can see, that was a pretty successful AFK session. The farm is still working. You can see some hoglins going down, running into the fire because they're very, very scared of these little mushrooms. And as you can see in my hotbar, I already have some cooked pork chop from this thing because it is absolutely insane. I have AFK'd for an hour, maybe. Like, probably not even that much. and this is how much cooked pork chop I have. It is insanity. There might also be some up here. Yeah, there's also some up here. Something I find a little interesting is this row, or this column, just that one, and that one get more pork chop than the other two. It's a little weird, but anyway, we pretty much now have a completely infinite source of probably the best food in the game. There's an argument to be made that it's golden carrots, but I think that golden carrots are great for PvP, but cooked pork chop is definitely better for just normal survival. Now that we've gotten the food situation sorted, we're going to move on to something back here in Blackkeep, which is a new block that was added in 1.17 that I haven't really gotten into yet, and you might be able to see it down there. Got some cauldrons because I want to collect some powdered snow, because it's kind of a really cool block that you can do some really weird things with, and I just need 2 of them, so I've set up 21 cauldrons, and now I just have to kind of wait for it to collect while it's snowing, and from what I know about it, I'm pretty sure this takes quite a while. So, as it turns out, it stops snowing eventually, and you only get like that much powdered snow, so this is going to take like a lot longer than I thought it would, and it's kind of longer than I'm willing to actually sit there and AFK for. So, instead of doing that, we're going to go work a little bit on Turtle Keep while we wait for powdered snow to accumulate, and it might not even happen this episode, because that is going to take forever, because it might literally never rain again, which would kind of suck, but, you know, we'll deal with that if that happens, and that probably won't happen. But for now, we're going to do some planning in Turtle Keep, because, like I said in kind of the beginning of this episode, I did say a lot of things that I have to finish in this little area, which is like, you know, courtyard there, marketplace, some paths, but I don't really have a super great idea where all those are going to go. I mean, the marketplace is going to go here, right? You know, that's generally pretty good, but I mean, like, I have to put the blacksmith somewhere in here, probably some other medieval buildings that I'm forgetting about that I want to add in, so I'm going to kind of do a little bit of a layout of things that I want to add to Turtle Keep, and then we'll see what we want to do after that. Hopefully the powdered snow will be done, but it probably won't. The powdered snow has in fact made no progress because it hasn't snowed again, but I have made at least some progress in Turtle Keep in that I have planned out all of the buildings that I could think of, which is just 3 more, including the baker's hut, a blacksmith, and a fishing hut. But we'll start here in the town circle, or toe-end circle, apparently, because it's not a square. Why would it be called a town square? So the town circle is just kind of here, right outside the church, and the watchtower, of course, where I said it would be in the last episode. And of course we have little paths going off of it to a possible bakery over here, because I feel like the bakery would be pretty high up, you know, very central, because everyone needs bread and pastries, I guess. And then you can follow the path over to the funeral pyre that's going to be kind of behind the church. Like I said in the last episode as well, they burn their dead, they don't bury them. So we're going to make a little funeral pyre here, big old campfire pretty much, and that should be pretty nice. If we continue following the path down, you get to the market, and having the market right next to the place where they burn their dead might not be the best option, but, you know, it's the only place I can really put the funeral pyre, and I'm quite set on having the market here, so that's what we're going to do. I'm thinking we have, like, little market stalls lining the wall on this side and this side. You go over here, maybe you have some over here as well. I think it'd be quite cool. And then if we head down into the shore of the lake, we have this path going kind of off of the shepherd's hut and past the little butcher's area, and it's going to go over here and around this rock somehow. I'm guessing I'll do like a little wooden thing going around the rock into the lake a little bit. Of course, we have the fisherman's hut. I was thinking I would put like a little fence here to fence off some fish in this pond, and this could be like the private stock of fish, because I think that's the thing fishermen do. And then he could also fish for fish in the fish lake. Just wanted to say fish as many times as possible. So yeah, he's gonna have a little hut right here, access to that lake and to the big one. And then if we follow the path just a little bit further, we reach the blacksmith area, which I'm thinking I'm gonna flatten out this pond pretty much all the way, and also shad, get back into the shad. Good job. So he can have just a pretty big area because he needs his house and also his workspace. My turtles don't like being in the pond, but I find that if they go on this beach, they get very stuck. So yeah, he'll have his little work area over there, maybe hut over here, and you know, it needs a little bit more space just because it's a blacksmith. And of course, I have a little bit more space, like, in this little area, but I couldn't think of any other buildings to add there, so for now, I'm just gonna leave it empty, and we'll decide what to put there in the future. There are a couple other medieval buildings that I could maybe do, like an armory possibly, but that's probably not super accurate for a town of this size. You know, they wouldn't have a organized like militia that much because they're so close to the capital. They probably wouldn't have that, and Blackkeep is very recently destroyed, so they wouldn't have adapted to that situation yet. So for now, I think I want to start actually working on some of this. I'm going to try out doing the toe end circle, and I'm not entirely 100% on any design for this one, so I'm just going to kind of mess around with it and see what happens. It's not fully finished yet, but I have gotten the like little base thing in. You know, we got an emerald block in the center, got some granite, some andesite, and some stone bricks. I think it looks pretty good. I need to add more like foliage around it. Like I covered it on this side a little with some more bushes because I like bushes a lot. And I think I want to do more of that. I don't know where else I would do that. I was thinking maybe I could have like a little bit of a shrub wall kind of separating the church. I did that a lot with the kind of back garden of the manor house, and I think that could look good, but I'm not sure how well I executed it just then, and that is definitely not gonna stay. But yeah, it needs a little bit more detailing, but I'd say overall the basic design is pretty good, so I'm gonna put in some more bushes maybe, try and get this to look a little bit better, because the edges currently are just a little bit too like sharp and distinct, so I want to try and rough them up a bit. Okay, I have added quite a bit to this area. I kept a little hedge wall over there, but I decided to make all the ground podzol, because I think it looks better. I also have like these patches of coarse dirt, just because I think it kind of like adds to it to have the ground be a different color from like the leaves. It just adds that like bit of contrast I think looks really good. I kind of, you know, grew a giant spruce tree over there, which is why there's not podzol in places like this. But yeah, I add, you know, some coarse dirt around and stuff, and I also added this little outline of where I think I'm going to put the baker's hut. There's, of course, going to be a big oven in the back, which is what these two symbolize, and then, you know, other than that, it's a pretty standard Turtle Keep hut. You got the, like, you know, spruce logs, dark oak walls, spruce roof. But I think this one's going to be 2 stories tall, because first of all, it needs to kind of fill the sky here a little bit, and also I want to have the bottom level be more of like a baking area, and then the top level can have like the, you know, bed and stuff. It'll be the bedroom. And I was thinking even I could have like a little market stall right here, just because it's a little blank, and that could be where the baker sells their bread. So yeah, I really like that idea, but sadly I don't actually have time for any of this today, so that'll have to wait till the next episode, because I'm really getting into this. But for now, like if you liked, subscribe if you like it, have a great day, and as always, bye-bye.